Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Ayana Graphics Designing Wala and I am a level 1 student at Jahan School Islamabad campus. So today I am here with new interview with RJ Ahmed. Yes, sir, can you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, like my name is RJ Ahmed, and I've been doing podcasting for the past 6 years. I'm running a podcast post production agency where we help other clients launch their podcast. And I was the very first English podcast in Pakistan when I started back in 2020. And we're helping other clients in launching and growing their podcast. And yeah, that's kind of like a short introduction of who I am and what I do.
Okay, that's great. So how did your journey begin?
Well, my journey began by accident. I didn't got myself admission in the university in 2018, and I was completely free for 6 months, had nothing to do, all that etc. So during that time, I stumbled upon like a Facebook ads around Shopify. Um, I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me see like what Shopify is and what it's all about. And then I searched a little bit more. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me start my own drop shipping store and see how it works. So I started my drop shipping store. But the question I got in my mind is like, how am I gonna get paid? I'm creating this store, all that etc. How am I gonna get paid at the end of a day? So then I watched some more YouTube videos. I figured out you have a process of forming company in the US, all that etc. So I had like $126 as saving in my account. At that time, it was around 20,000 Pakistani rupees. So I was like, since it is my own money, I can actually use it. And even if it goes wrong, nothing gonna happen. If I'm gonna take my parents' money, if then something happens, then it's not gonna be a great thing. So instead of taking money from my parents, I just utilized my own resources, invested that, formed a company in US, started my dropshipping store, didn't work out at all because the fundamentals I had, the things I knew was not enough for me to implement it successfully. So yeah, but anyways, went from there and then later on, I got into the world of ClickFunnels. I got to know there's a concept with a sales funnel, and also I got to know about what affiliate marketing is, all that etc. So affiliate marketing is where I got my very first sale online. I was in my university, in my hostel, and I realized that it is possible to make money online, that it is possible for me to make money online. That's how I started. And again, it's been 7 8 years now, I'm still here.
Okay, nice. So my next question to you is, what was your biggest challenge at that time?
Well, the biggest challenges I had that time is first of all the challenge of belief, because I feel like whenever somebody's starting and they have nobody in their circle, the belief is something what they really need at first. Because if they don't have the belief that it is possible, they are not gonna able to make it. So the first thing was the challenge of belief because I knew no one in my circle who was doing it. I had no proximity, no network whatsoever. That was the very first challenge I had because I was watching YouTube videos, but I have nobody to relate with and then feel like, hey, that person have my solution that I know personally do. So yeah, first thing was belief. Second thing was when you get into something new, you don't know anything. You're completely highly vulnerable. No, everybody knows that you don't know anything at all. So yeah, that's something because I didn't know how to speak on camera. I didn't know how to speak English, how to communicate, anything from a basic fundamental standpoint. Everything had to be learned from scratch. So that was another challenge I had because again, English is not our first language. All that was the other challenges I had, and also like being more coachable also, right? That's the other thing. It's like when even when we start, we feel like at the end of a day, okay, hame to like sabhi aata hai, like we know everything. But that is not what the reality is. The reality is when you start, you have to humble yourself to a point where you are coachable. You are like, hey, I don't know this. Can you teach me? I'm listening. So that's how it actually works. So like these were like some of the challenges I was having in the beginning that of course like took time to cover all that, and then you know it went well.
Okay, nice. So my next question to you is, now let's talk about high ticket business. How would you define high ticket in simple words?
Well, I would say I started my podcast in 2020. And when I started my podcast, a lot of people had asked me this question like, "Hey man, like, how you interviewing these big names on the show from being in Pakistan when you are 19, 20?" I mean, like, how old are you right now?
I'm
Yeah,
yes, 14 years.
you're 14. So
Yes,
you're doing it far more earlier than me, right? So just think about it. Like when I was doing it at 20, people were asking this question. People could ask the same question to you right now. This is the exact same thing was happening to me, even though you're younger. So yeah, they were asking me this question like, "Hey man, like how you doing this? Like how you getting these big names on your podcast?" So that's when I realized that there is a market demand and people are willing to learn from me what I have to offer or like the experience I'm getting. People are willing to pay for it. So yeah, that's exactly how it started. I started my own course. People started to take it. People started to implement it. Of course, like when you get a course, the implementation of it varies from person to person, depending upon like how somebody uses that skill. But when you're running an agency, when you're running your own service, you have more control because then it's your team, your system. You guys are doing pretty much all the heavy lifting. So that's how I went into it. I think it was like 20 like early 2022 when I decided like I'll do like most of the agency stuff and I'll focus on that. So it's been 4 years doing that too, and it's been amazing. Literally like just an hour ago from this interview, like I got a message from one of my clients that they got like a podcast award in their category as the number one like podcast in health and wellness category. So yeah, I mean, that's how it started, and it's been amazing so far.
very nice. So, what skill are most important in today's?
Well, I would say like in today's, I was thinking about it yesterday too. I feel like any s- how to use AI is the very first skill that somebody should know. How to play with AI tools is the very first skill. Like how to play with Claude, how to play with GPT, how to play with like other video AI tools. That is a very first step. Once you're aware about to use those tools to some extent, then you can possibly think about okay, like what else am I gonna do? Because if we talk about graphic design, at first there was like extreme graphic designers, then there was like Canva and all that, etc. But now a few days ago, um, Claude Design, I guess, came, and like Claude Design allows people to design just by writing few prompts. That's it. A lot of
Mm,
designers are gone just because of that one AI tool. So, like, first of all, using AI is the very first skill that somebody should have. And the second skill, either ways, like somebody should have, is learn how to sell. Learn how to sell your offer. Because if you're not able to sell somebody, convince somebody, you're not gonna make it in this day and age. Because every person who is smart or dumb is gonna come up to you and be like, hey man, AI can do this. And if you're not better in selling, you're not able to convince them why you are better with an AI tool and they can't use the AI tool alone, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
okay, nice. So, let's talk about clients. So, how can someone attract high-paying clients?
Well, I would say like attracting high paying clients, the very first step is to make sure that they would consider you worthy to be high paying, right? It means that if you're planning to sell something to them, you just have to first of all show them what's the quality looks like. And let me tell you like example of getting high paying client. High paying client versus a low paying client. High paying client always go for speciality and low paying client always go for general. So for example, I'll do just video edit for you. That is something what a generalist say. A specialist always say, I will create 30 high converting reels that will boost your brand, that will attract your right audiences, and could possibly get you clients. That is what a specialist say. So if somebody who is smarter or somebody who's already making a lot of money, they're going to be like, I just don't need a video editor only. I need somebody who can create great reels, who can help me to get that brand visibility and get convert them to clients, right? So that person is going to pay that guy premium because he have positioned it better. High ticket paying clients is all about positioning. The same guy who can pay high ticket will pay somebody low just because their positioning is not better.
Okay, nice.
That's what it's all about.
Okay. So, what is the biggest mistake beginners make?
Well, the biggest mistake people make, beginner make especially, they pretend as if they know it all. That's the biggest mistake they make. They are not coachable enough to take advices, to implement those advices and go from there. What they do is they just consume content, consume content, consume content, and they lack execution. That's the problem. For me, I prefer execution over everything. People reach out to me. They're like, "Hey, man, this looks like incomplete. Whatever you're posting, all that." I was like, "It doesn't matter because that's a very first step. Now I know it have problem. Now I can go in and fix it. If I'm gonna just sitting with it and not gonna do anything about it, that is the problem. So like beginners are come with a mindset as if they know it all, and then they are really slow in execution. They take forever to
Okay.
execute.
Okay, that's strong point. So, my next question: how important in mindset in business success?
Mindset is the most important thing in business. And let me tell you like the easiest example for it. The problem with most people have, especially when they're starting out, is they feel like as if like Americans, people who are living in UK, or people who live or Europeans, as if they are different creatures. That's not the reality. They're not. They're treated as like sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am. That's not the reality. You are um just thinking as if they are inferior, and you're not. So the mindset comes into play in that scenario is like this person, of course, like the conversion is one thing, but apart from that, like the mindset should be more around this person is coming to me and paying me this just because I deserve it, just because I have worked on it, just because I have the skill for it. I have worked with so many clients in the past 7 8 years. There are hardly one or two instances there would have been somebody who said like, hey man, you're in Pakistan, like can you do it for cheap? I
Yes.
always create a better offer, but I have never, hardly like one or two times somebody would have said to me like, "Hey man, you're in Pakistan, can you do it for cheap?" Otherwise, most people who come up to me, whatever the offer I still give them a better offer because I would like to give them some sort of edge. But they would never say to me, "Hey," because I don't treat myself in that manner. I don't treat myself as if I am not equal to them. I always treat myself like, "Hey, they are coming up to me because I had something to offer." So that's a reason why mindset is important. If you're not able to think that way, then you're not able to operate yourself. Until you don't believe it, it's not gonna happen. So that's
Oh,
why.
okay, nice. So, how do you stay focused and consistent and motivate?
Well, you need to have of course there usually happens inconsistency here and there, but you always have to have a goal where you're heading to, right? If there's no goal, if there's no target, then it means there is no direction and there is no way. You need to have a target and you need to have a goal so that you can head to somewhere. अगर मंजिल ही नहीं
Okay,
होगी तो रास्ता कैसे होगा,
बिल्कुल
right? So
जी
that's the whole point. So you need to have a goal so that you can have a way for it. So that's the whole point. So then when you have a goal and then you have a way, then you can create steps. Like I'll do this today, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this tomorrow. So you have to create a goal, then create a way, then create some steps. That's all about that. So that's how you can, and sometimes you can miss consistency. Everybody is human. Sometimes it takes you longer than expected. That's fine. Until you're heading in the right direction, it's all right.
okay. So, how do you handle objection like it's too expensive?
How do I handle if it's too expensive? I always ask them why do they think about that? What do they feel? And if they're asking about like, hey, just because I'm feeling like I'm talking to a Pakistani, I was like, that doesn't matter. I've got more results than people compared to in US possibly. So I don't think so that is a valid thought. And then also it's like if I get you more value than how much you're paying, do you still feel like it would be expensive for you? Of course not. The only people who say expensive are either like who are poor people, or those type of people who are not able to believe that you're able to deliver it. That's it. Because they want you to play safe. The people who are rich, they if they believe what you have to offer, they're never gonna say like, oh, it's too expensive. Literally. I have people like who I literally texted, even never got on a sales call. And I told them like this amount they literally paid, and I have never even got on a call yet with them. They're paying for it for 2 years or more. So that's how
Okay.
it works. So it's
Okay.
just more towards the belief of your product, only then you'll be able to handle it. If your conviction around your product is not there, you're not able to handle it. Of course, there is a lack of communication that most people need to learn, but that's something, if you work on it constantly, you're able to learn it over time. Of course, right now at this point, GPT, you can talk to GPT back and forth, ask GPT to become a person who have a lot of objections around your product and act as a salesperson for your product, and see like how it acts. Easiest way to get to know objections, practice objections, and go from there.
Okay, nice. So, how can someone scale their business?
Scale their business from where to where?
A beginner to
Well, a beginner, from beginner to any stage. For example, let's talk about like from beginner to how Sir Rehan say like everybody need to make like 500 to $1,000 a month. Um, a beginner first of all need to learn a skill that people would pay for, and from there to get to a better from there to get to like 500 or $1,000 is they just have to make sure they're able to sell it to more people and get more reviews and portfolios out of it. You just have to learn one skill and willing to offer to people for free first, because
okay.
in the beginning you don't have any portfolio, and to create portfolio you have to offer it to someone. So try to offer it to someone, get a portfolio so that you can have conviction to show it to others. Getting to $500 to $1,000 is not a big deal. It sounds like for a lot of people because one, they haven't done it, and second, they don't have the belief that they can do it, and third is it looks like a big amount here in Pakistan, and it is a big amount here in Pakistan for a lot of people making on a monthly basis, but it is totally possible to do that.
Okay. So, which platform do you recommend for beginners?
Facebook, social media is the best. Facebook is really great. Facebook and Instagram, amazing. All you have to do is just to make sure add your target clients or target prospects in your Facebook socials. Same goes for Instagram, so that you'll be able to talk to them. They'll be able to see your stuff, all that, etc. If you're not adding them, they can't see it. That's the whole point. Or you have to be in those type of groups. So yeah,
Okay, nice. So, what advice do you give your young people?
well, I would say that, and this is something I say pretty much all the time, is comparison is a thief of joy. As soon as you start comparing yourself with others, you are taking away your own happiness. So stay in your own lane, focus on what you're doing, have goals, chase them, but don't try to make yourself sad just because somebody else is happy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the advice I would like to give.
Okay. So, what are the future trends in business according to you?
Well, everything is pretty much around AI. Future trends, honestly, I can't say about like how it goes, but all I know is like a lot of people's job gonna get taken just because AI is there. So if people are not able to adapt and learn how to use AI and able to offer it to others in a better way, somebody else is gonna do it. It's gonna get really competitive in the next 3 to 5 years. I feel like, you know, for public, ChatGPT came in like 2022, 2023. It feels like a stone age before ChatGPT and other AI tools. And it's just been 3 or 4 years. So just imagine what next 3 or 4 years can look like while AI is there. It's crazy to think about that.
Okay. So, my next question is, how do you build and maintain a strong brand?
The way you can build and maintain a strong brand is consistently speak what you believe in and consistently talks about what you like, what your dislikes looks like, what you believe, talks about your stuff, what you do, the work you do consistently on a consistent basis. The only way you can build brand is talk about things that you believe in and you embody. If somebody follows me, they might know like I've been playing piano for the past 10 years. I love wrestling. I'm a big WWE fan. Um, I love interviewing people on my podcast. I love talking to people on my podcast. All these things, my glasses, all these things actually represents my personal brand. So if everybody, if any, because personal brand is all around association of things. If anything are there, and all those things are present at one way or the other or together, people can associate all those things with me because I've been really vocal about it. The only way you can build a brand if you are vocal. If you're not vocal, it's pretty hard to build it.
Okay. So what service do you provide to your clients?
I provide end-to-end podcast production service. All they do is record the podcast, they send it to our team, and we edit it on their behalf. We do the thumbnails, titles, description, editing of the podcast, creating trailer, creating thumbnails, posting it on YouTube, posting it on audio platform, create reels, hand it on social media. We do it end-to-end basis for our clients. And that's exactly what our main service looks like.
Okay. So what makes your agency different from others?
Well, I would say results. That's the only thing that makes my agency different than others. Results. That's it. I can't say other agencies are bad. All I know that my agency do pretty well if people are willing to put their work.
Okay. So
Yep.
what mistake do beginners usually make in this field, in video editing field?
Well, I would say like the mistake that they make is they just know how to use tools. Most video editors just know how to use tools. They just don't know how to be creative.
Yes.
And when I was talking about even earlier in the conversation of like how to get high paying clients, that is the same thing. They just know how to use tools. But when we ask them to be more creative around something, they can't be creative because they don't have the creativity. That's what video editors actually face. And that's the reason why they are underpaid, they undercharge, and they underdeliver. That's the difference.
Okay. So how do you structure a profitable ad campaign?
I've never, honestly, I barely tried ads and I don't have a proper answer for that because we really tried ads. So can't answer you that question.
Okay. So how do you test and scale winning ads so people attract?
Still the same answer. We haven't run many ads, so I have no experience. Can't tell you about that.
Okay. So what kind of business do you usually work with, and what kind of business the people and younger people can do it in this?
Well, I would say like,
Yes, yes.
yeah, I would say like the people we work with are the people who are making more money, especially who are making at least multiple six figures per year to seven figures per year in US dollars. It means like over 100 to $200,000 per year to at least $1 million per year. Part of the reason is because if somebody is making, let's say, over $200,000 per year, if even if we charge them $2,000 per month, that is only roughly 10% of their income. But if we are charging that same $2,000 to somebody who's making $8,000, that could be possibly 25% of their income. That's a lot for them, right? The reason why we go with higher paying client is because they have more runway to play with it. The people who have less runway will not gonna stay longer. The longest client I have working with me is 4 years.
Okay,
So,
nice.
so that is that the main reason why is because that person had a runway to go with it. Only that is the reason.
Okay. So what is e-commerce is your own words?
Sorry.
What is e-commerce in your own words?
Well, e-commerce is like selling something, selling a digital product or physical product through online is e-commerce.
Okay.
Yep.
So, what keeps you motivated during tough times and difficulties?
Well, what keeps me motivating in my tough times are my goals. I even though sometimes it takes longer than expected for me to get through from one point to another, but I know one fact for sure that I would not stop for my goals. That's the only reason that keep me stay there even in tough times.
Okay, nice. And thank you for joining us today and sharing your valuable insights. Thank you for joining. So, we will.
You're welcome, Ayan.
Okay, so we will this was our today podcast. I hope you like it. See you another podcast, another interview. Till then, love is Pakistan Zindabad.